Coming up, a warning about a dangerous drug combination.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The Biden administration recently announced a familiar opioid is being combined with horse tranquilizer, and it is an emerging threat to the public. WYMT's Jordan Mullins spoke to officials with addiction recovery care as well as local first responders about the dangerous drug combination.
On April 12th, the Biden administration declared that fentanyl mixed with a non-opiate horse tranquilizer called xylazine has become an emergent threat to the nation. Here in the mountains, the emergence of this tranq dope has officials with addiction recovery care, or ARC, quite worried.
This is not new to America, but it's relatively new to Kentucky and to West Virginia. So we're seeing it come into the area, and we're quite frankly scared.
Along with the opioid epidemic, local first responders have seen a steady increase in overdose cases across the region.
We experience at least sometimes 2 and 3 overdoses a week, up to 5 to 10 in a week. Had one this morning. Terrible. A complete disaster.
And because xylazine is not an opiate, naloxone or Narcan does not work, making the combination even more deadly.
Narcan cannot always resuscitate someone who has used xylazine and fentanyl because Narcan will not work on the xylazine.
But ARC officials and first responders still suggest having Narcan on hand.
If you need it, it's available at the health department. Most police departments will have it on demand. You can also contact us.
Working to keep folks safe and battling the ever-growing epidemic. Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
ARC Deputy Legal Counsel Jonathan Gay adds if you or someone you know is battling addiction, or if you would like more information, you can always visit arccenters.com. Earlier today, Attorney General and Republican candidate for Governor Daniel Cameron was in Leslie County. Cameron was hosting his 7th fentanyl forum across the state. Alongside Cameron during the event were other advocates and local leaders trying to fight the drug problem in Kentucky, including one man who shared his addiction and recovery story, hoping to remind others they can overcome too.
My family is multi convicted felons. My real dad sold dope for 24 years. He's dead. I never got caught. I know why. That guy said, I love you. I said, bro, you don't know me. He said, I don't gotta know you, I love you.
This is the 3rd fentanyl forum Cameron has hosted in our region. Because of his events today in eastern Kentucky, Daniel Cameron was not in Louisville for the Kentucky Sports Radio gubernatorial debate. Former UN Ambassador Kelly Craft, Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles, State Auditor Mike Harmon, and Somerset Mayor Alan Keck faced off, talking about several issues, including comments about Kentucky school systems being, quote, woke, and whether they agree with that statement.
You know, Tiffany and I have 3 daughters. They all go to public school. Their teachers are incredible. They're good folks who care about our kids, that want to teach them. Are there teachers in Kentucky that are woke? Sure.
You know, as a whole, I do not, but I do think that there are definitely instances, and I think at the top there's a big push for wokeness. I mean, I think Commissioner Glass does in fact need to be fired. You know, he was pushing an agenda that really does not need put on our people. We need to get back to teaching the basics.
We have teachers that have a passion to teach, and they are being directed as to what to teach. They need to be teaching our children how to think, not what to think. They need to be teaching our children what their passion is, skills and knowledge, to make certain that they are ready to reach their full potential.
I think that there's something somewhere along the line in society, if you make one mistake, you're canceled. And I think that that's unhealthy. I think that the Kentucky that I know is one that's a very accepting culture. It's one that values differences. I also think that the Kentucky that I know is one that focuses on the basics.
The GOP candidates were also asked who they would support for president in 2024. Kraft and Harmon said they would support former President Donald Trump. Quarles and Keck both said they would go for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Well, another warm day throughout the mountains and plenty of sunshine as well. We've got at least one more of those to go before changes start to work in toward the weekend. A look back at the day that was. The almanac shows, well, similar temperatures. 82 for a high, both London and Jackson. London cooler this morning at 44. Jackson reached 52. Should be about 71 this time of year. In fact, the averages lining up 71 and 49. Not too far from the record highs, but not threatening them yet. Tomorrow, got a better shot. Upper 50s and low 60s, even a couple of 70-degree readings still sneaking in there. Your forecast first as we run through your early hours tomorrow. Your frosted weather wheats, the prize inside shows upper 50s to near 60 as we wake up in the morning. So maybe not a day to grab the jacket early if you're headed out for that run. Not looking too bad either, though it could get a little warm as we head towards later in the day with those temperatures in the 80s, so just be aware of that and put on some of that sunscreen. Steve, I'll have details on when we see a return to some showers in a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thank you. Firefighters continue to fight a wildfire burning at an Eastern Kentucky state park. We first told you yesterday about this fire at Natural Bridge State Park near the Skylift in Powell County. The U.S. Forest Service says the fire intensified in the last 24 hours. At last check, it was only 45% contained. Around 100 firefighters are battling the flames. There are no reports of injuries or structures in harm's way, but crews say it's been a challenge because of the terrain.
Firefighters have to navigate very dense, thick fuels and cliffs, so they're not able to make a continuous control line. They have to go around the rim rock on trails and utilize the trails as control lines.
Now, we are expecting some rain this weekend, as Evan's been talking about, and that obviously will help firefighters fight this fire. A fire in Pike County has one family starting over, taking memories, pets, and everything they owned. WYMT's Buddy Forbes went to Virgie to see the destruction the flames left behind.
Tina Ratliff watches as the remnants of her home are pushed into piles.
We lost everything.
Since a fire started in her outdoor building Monday, engulfing most of her Rock House Fork property, waiting and watching have been her reality.
My neighbor said she's seen a can of beans shoot up in the air and explode. It just went so fast, it was like a domino effect. It started out there and just came around and jumped from house to house. I'd never seen nothing like it.
Leaving her with the ash of a lifetime of memories, escaping with only her family, 4 of their dogs, and the clothes on their backs.
What am I going to do? Where am I going to get the money to rebuild?
Still, it is not the future she is most worried about, but the past, having inherited the home from her uncle.
I left. I couldn't stand to watch it.
Who was proud to have handed it down to the next generation.
And he would tell me, when they take me out on that hill and bury me down in the ground, I want you to come back out here and live in this house, and I don't want you to leave it. That's what hurts so bad.
She says moving forward seems unimaginable, but the response from her community has been unexplainable as they work to find ways to bring her a little security through the smoke.
But by the time we got out, there was all kinds of people out there here wanting to help.
And though she finds it hard to communicate her loss, she is glad to have found a community of love.
So many people have said, I've not been up there because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say either. You don't have to say anything. Just being there means it all.
Navigating the rubble as she works to rebuild. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Anyone who wants to donate to the family can reach out to Ratliff on Facebook. She says their most pressing need is a BiPAP and CPAP machine, which she and her husband rely on to sleep at night. New tonight, Kentucky State Police are accused of not doing enough to investigate cockfighting. Several animal welfare groups wrote a letter to Governor Beshear and Attorney General Daniel Cameron and held a news conference saying cockfighting goes on because people think they can get away with it. The Herald-Leader reports one of the groups says it gave state police cockfighting schedules and called during the events. State police responded, saying KSP investigates tips about illegal activity, quote, to the fullest extent. Folks in Perry County now have a new option when it comes to their health care and therapy. Mountain Therapy held its ribbon-cutting ceremony Wednesday afternoon. The Hazard-based office is locally owned and operated by Jonathan Sizemore and Sam Sparkman. Together, they offer speech and physical therapy.
I see a lot of the sports injuries in the area, and also, treat some post-rehab, post-ACL, a lot of sports injuries, and then I'm blessed to be able to see a wide, variety of things, a lot of neuro and musculoskeletal injuries.
Mountain Therapy is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. The Hazard Lions Club is hosting its 51st radio auction this week, benefiting scholarships to high school students in Perry County. This is the first auction since the COVID-19 pandemic. The club is auctioning off items like televisions, cooking sets, and more. Hazard Lions Club President Abby Little says she's excited to be back.
We were going to have it back in the fall, but after the Eastern Kentucky floods, we decided to postpone it until spring. So this is actually our first auction in the spring, and we're actually doing really well with it, a lot better than we thought we would. And, it's our first year back from COVID, so we're really excited to be back this year.
The auction continues for one more night. You can call WSGS 101.1 between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. tomorrow to place a bid. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, illegal dumping has become a bigger issue following the July flooding. We'll talk with officials about how they are working to fix the problem.
Plus, changes on the way as we head through the back half of this week. The latest details after this.
Guys, Pap's got me in again. Do you have a fixer-upper? We can help you with that. We got